Hello, and welcome to the UBC Master of Data Science Program Admissions Panel discussion. My name is Milad Maymay, and I'm the Director of Program Operations and Student Management for the Master of Data Science Vancouver program, and I will also be your moderator for today. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that this session will be recorded. Today, we're going to be talking about the admissions and application process for the Master of Data Science program. Specifically, we'll be answering questions about how to apply, what the application process is like, what makes a good application, prerequisites, financial assistance, and those kind of things. A few weeks ago, we held a similar panel discussion with program alumni in which we went over the student experience of the program. For example, what students learned, what they liked or disliked about the program, and how they navigated the job market after graduation. We have recordings of these panel discussions posted on our website, so you can listen to them if you are interested. When you registered for this discussion, you had the opportunity to let us know what kind of questions you had about the program, and we selected the most frequently asked questions and hope to get through these questions in the next hour. Let's get started then. As you can see, we have three panelists with us today, one from each of the Master of Data Science programs. Let's meet them now. So I'll ask them to introduce themselves and talk a little bit more about their particular program. So let's start with Khalad.
Hello, everyone. My name is Khaled Hassan, and I'm an assistant professor in computer science. I'm also one of the co-director for Master of Data Science program at UBC's Okanagan campus. Our program started in 2018, and since then we have been maintaining a relatively smaller cohort size to just ensure that the classroom engagement, or the student and teacher engagement, are very interactive environment and so on. So I believe that's one of the key aspects of the MDS Okanagan program.
Great, thanks, Khalad. Garrett, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Milad. I'm Garrett Nicolai. I'm an assistant professor of teaching in the linguistics department at the UBC Vancouver campus and the director of the Computational Linguistics program. Our program is focused more on the processing of text and speech data from a linguistic perspective. So we're interested in working on machine translation, sentiment analysis, and other linguistic natural language phenomena.
Thank you, Garrett. Tiffany.
Hi, my name is Tiffany Timbers, and I'm an associate professor of teaching in the statistics department at the UBC Vancouver campus, and I'm also a co-director of the Vancouver option for the MDS program. Our program has been around, I think, since 2016, so we've had 9 cohorts run through our program, so we've been doing this for a while now, and we have recently grown our program so that we run 2 parallel sections. So we have a larger program than the other 2, but because we've moved to multi-sections, we still have been able to maintain the same student ratios student instructor ratios compared to what we've done in the past.
Great, thank you very much, everyone. So let's get right into the first questions. It's a more general question. So can you go through the application or admissions process? What is it like? For example, what happens after you submit an application, and then what are the steps until somebody gets an offer? Does anybody want to start? If not, I can also jump in there.
I can say something. Or Claude, go ahead.
Sure. Okay. So for the application, we commonly open our admission portal in September, and then we started receiving the application. We commonly started reviewing the application process in December. January, this is the very common time for us to review most of our applications and so on, but it does not mean that all the students will get the admission offer in December and so on. What we commonly do, we commonly review in a small batch, so let's say 20 to 30 applications at a time and so on, and then based on the small batch, we send the reviews and so on. In the past, we even send admission offers to February to April, or even sometimes in May. So It's kind of a rolling admission. So instead of sending all the admission offer at a time, we actually continue the admission offer throughout in March, April, or May even. So that's for the MDS Okanagan campus.
Great, thank you. And I think every program is a little bit different. So Tiffany or Garrett, how does it work for Vancouver and CL?
Yeah, so for CL, it's very similar. We've had the portal open for a while. We actually have kind of two deadlines. Our final deadline is the end of January for admissions. But we do have a first deadline actually tomorrow that we'll be accepting our first round of applications, and then they'll go to our admissions team and we'll be going through doing reviews, having discussions, and then trying to get out offers. I don't want to give a date, but we want to try to get them out. Yeah, I won't give a date, but and then after that, we'll get the second round at the end of January. We'll do a similar process, go through the applications, and send out offers. As Claude said, we don't necessarily send out all offers immediately after reading the applications. We have a target cohort size for next year that we do aim for. So some applications may go on to a short wait list as we get rejections from offers, or if as we get different conditions happening. So it may take a while to get through them all, but we do try to get through them as quickly as we can.
Thanks, Garrett. Tiffany?
Yeah, so we're very similar to UBC Okanagan in that we only have one deadline, but we do start to review the applications before the deadlines. That first deadline happens. So we do rolling application. We start to review in late December, early January, and we'll be continuing to review through the spring. We do get a large number of applicants each year, so it does take us a while to get through all of them. So typically we finish around April or May with our admissions process. We do have a larger admissions review team this year, so we're hoping that we can maybe get things done a little bit more quickly, but we want to make sure that we thoroughly review all the applications. We read each one in detail.
Yeah. So for all programs, just to summarize, there's rolling offers going out starting from December, January, all the way to probably April, May. So if you haven't received an offer and it's April, don't be worried. You might still get an offer later in the year, in the spring. Great, thanks very much. So the next question that we have is, there's different things that people have to submit to their application. So what are some key things that you consider we consider when we review applications? Or in other words, what makes for a good application? Yes, Tiffany.
Great. Yeah. So one thing that we're looking for, which is essential, is that you are academically prepared. So you need to have the prerequisites. And then we also look at what experience that you can bring to the table and bring to the program. So it's ideal to have work experience, but if you are a newer graduate and you don't have professional or formal work experience, you can also highlight to us some of the other things that could count towards experience. So you could talk about maybe you've done an internship or a co-op. Maybe you've worked as a research assistant for a professor at the university. Maybe you've done some volunteer work or personal projects. So sharing that all with us could really highlight what experience you have if you don't have that formal work experience. And then I say the next really big thing to do is when you're answering any of the questions on the applications that are more freeform, or writing your personal statement, is you tell us very clearly, how does this degree fit into your career plan? What are you planning to do in 5 years, and how is this going to help you get there? You might not have like a crystal clear vision, but having some sort of plan that you can share with us is really helpful for understanding if this is a good fit for you.
Thank you. Garrett or Milad, anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I'll just say from the CL perspective, we're a little less concerned about industry experience coming into the program. We often do get a lot more applications coming right out of an undergrad or out of another program. We love students who do have industrial experience as well. But yeah, I'll just echo what Tiffany said. The statement is really an important place for you to let us know why you want to be in the program and why we should accept you into the program. It's really one of the top things that we look at when we're looking at applications.
Yeah, same for the Okanagan campus, as Stephen says, that like everything does matter, like starting from your academic results to work experience and everything, those add values to the applications.
Great, thank you. One thing I would add is please be aware that you're not applying for a job. So we don't want to hear everything that you know already about data science and about computational linguistics. We want to actually hear from you maybe what you lack and why you're taking this program in order to fill those gaps. So make sure that your personal statement is actually, or letter of intent or whatever you want to call it, personal. So don't say I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. We want to hear from you, what your story is and why you're applying for this program and how this program is going to help you in your future career. Great. So we touched about a lot of things that in here already, but some more specific questions are about what if I don't have work experience and I'm a fresh grad? Is that still okay? Yes, Kalan.
From our past experience, like specifically last year, we saw many applicants who are just fresh graduate. They completed their undergraduate and then admitted to the programs and so on. So in Okanagan campus, we also admitted students who just graduated from their program. But as Stephanie mentioned, that we value work experience, and those work experience and also statement of like personal statement or statement of intent, if they can actually mention that how actually they can see the MDS program add values to their career goals and so on, that would be even wonderful, so that we know their story, why they are interested in joining the MDS program right after they are like finishing their degree.
Thanks, Kalan. Anything to add, Gareth?
I'll add from my perspective that that a lot of times students that are coming right out of another program find the transition into the program a little bit easier. If you've been working in the field for a while and you're coming back to the classroom, it can be a bit of a change in what you have to get used to. So that is one thing that students coming directly from a previous program don't necessarily have to adapt to, and can maybe be in a bit of an advantageous position over those who have been working for a while. Really, yeah, we like both students who have been working and students from programs, but I don't think it's a big worry that if you don't have the work experience, apply to the program and tell us your story.
So for the MDS Vancouver program, I think maybe around half or a third of our current students came directly from an undergraduate degree. Is that about right, Milad? Does that make sense? Yeah.
Right.
And they're doing well and being very successful in the program, and we sent them an offer. I think what really helped these students get an offer from us was how they highlighted what experiences they had in their, undergraduate training that outside of the classroom that help them be prepared. So again, thinking about, are there co-op experiences that were that might have helped you prepare, internships, research, or research. Sometimes it's volunteer work. So sometimes you're doing some interesting volunteer work that has data applications, or it's given you questions about data. Maybe you're not actually able to answer those data questions, but you're like, I can see how this is really important and this is motivating me. Tell us about that. This counts as experience towards your application.
Yeah, thank you. One thing that I would like to add is you don't necessarily have to have a computer science or statistics background. You can be from any background. So you can have a background in business or engineering, or we actually are the variety in our program from people coming in with different backgrounds. We have a lot of variety from people coming in from different backgrounds. So you don't, as long as you have the prerequisites and you meet the other program requirements, you can apply to the program from with any kind of background. The other question that is related to this, but it's kind of the flip side, is what if you graduated a long time ago? Maybe you graduated, somebody says here, I graduated in 2018 and I've been working for 13 years. How does that work, and how does that play into the application process? Yes, Tiffany.
For the MDS Vancouver program, you're a wonderful candidate for our program. We really value work experience. As it is important that you do have the prerequisites, so you do need to have completed those courses, but it's okay that they were a long time ago. One thing that we do give advice so that help you be successful if you get an offer in the program is that if you took that math course or that statistics course a really long time ago and you haven't been regularly using that on the job, you might want to refresh that knowledge before you come and join us in September. But yeah, if you have the prerequisites, but you've been working for the last 10 years, you're a fantastic candidate for the program.
Khalad or Garrett, anything to add to what Tiffany said?
I'll just say that this happens all the time with our program, especially with the prevalence of LLMs now. We have a lot of students applied to the CL program that really just want to up their credentials and get some training in LLMs in language analysis. So yeah, we take that into consideration when we're looking at the applications, and experience in industry is not quite the same as classes. So yeah, I'll echo what Tiffany said again. And yeah, you might want to do an online course or something to just refresh some knowledge that you may have taken a while ago, but haven't necessarily used in the recent past.
And Mary, maybe Garrett, just for some folks who are familiar with the LLM acronym, you can.
Oh, yeah. So there's large language models, ChatGPT, and their the similar programs. Well, we're also called AI in a lot of places, although that's a broader term. So, yeah.
Great, thank you, Khalad.
Yeah, for Okanagan campus, yes, like as Tiffany mentioned, is very similar process. We like for any person with industry experience, they would be a wonderful candidate to the.
Great. Awesome. Again, you don't have to have data science related experience, industry related experience. It could be any kind of industry experience. There's a lot of questions about, oh, I don't have an IT background, or I don't have a computer science or statistics background. Can I apply? And the answer is yes, you can apply as long as you meet the other prerequisites. And we'll get into the details about the prerequisites a little bit later as well. Okay, so questions about GPA. So there's a minimum GPA, which is a B+ to apply for the programs. I believe all three programs is the same. But some people are asking, what if I don't have grades that are that great? But maybe, is there anything I can do to kind of make up for that?
So I can just repeat what from the previous question that taking some online courses to really show your dedication to wanting to improving and get the skills necessary to start the program is a good place to start. But also there are the prerequisites of your on your transcript are really the most important ones, and we will, as Milad said, we will get to those. But if there are reasons on your transcript why maybe you had a semester that something happened, explain that to us in your statement. Explain that there's a section on the application for giving more information that gives us perspective when we're reviewing the applications, and can help us make a more informed decision.
Yeah, I would echo with what Gert said. So basically, if there is any GPA related concern or any prerequisite related concern, please explain them in the statement, particular reason why for, let's say, a particular semester. And also in some cases, we saw that like candidates who has been working in the industry for last 10 years and so on. So all those different things added values to the applications and so on. So try to see how, or please explain the reason behind those like small things, so that for us, like who will be reviewing the applications, we can actually take a call based on your statement of interest, and we can consider those aspects.
Thank you. So Tiffany, anything to add, or should we? Okay, great. Yeah, so the answer is, to summarize, you can still apply if you maybe don't meet, if your grades aren't great. You can make bad grades up with work experience. You can explain why maybe you had a bad semester and that affected your grades. The other thing we actually look for is trends. So let's say, for example, in the first year or second year of your degree, your grades weren't very good, but then you found your passion or you declared your major and you realized this is really what I wanted to do, and suddenly your grades get much better. We look for that as well. So that could also be another way to make up for bad grades earlier on in your academic career. Okay, there is a couple of questions that we can really quickly answer and get through. So one is there an online option? So the answer is no. Kalad?
Yeah, for our campus, no.
No. Yeah. So MDS is an in-person program, and that's how we market it, and we want it, and that's how we designed the program. And so it's only the only option available is in person. And then the other question is there a part-time option? No. Okay. So MDS again, all the students start in September. They go through the same courses. They take the same courses all together. It's a cohort-based program. So they take all the same courses all together and they graduate at the end of June. It's all very full-time, it's very intensive, and it's an accelerated program. That's why we can do it in 10 months. Yes, Tiffany.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that we're extra clear that it really is in person. So there are required elements in the classroom where attendance is absolutely required in the MDS Vancouver program. And so it is important that you are not working a full-time job and that you are living in Vancouver. Like you have to be here in person to complete the program.
Yes. Great. Thank you very much. All right. So let's get into the prerequisites a little bit more. So one thing that we don't accept for the prerequisite courses, so there's 4 prerequisites. One is a calculus course. One is a linear algebra course. One is a programming course, and one is a statistics or a probability course. And those are usually, first year level courses or introductory courses. We want them to be 4-credit courses. So the prerequisite courses that you have to take have to show up on a transcript so we can assess them. We know how well or poorly you did in them. And that's why we don't really want people to submit do MOOCs or online courses that are not for credit as a prerequisite course. So we want you to take 4-credit courses with a grade on a transcript so we can assess it. And that's why we don't allow MOOCs. And that's one of the questions. Yes, Tiffany.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think to clarify, so it's 3 courses, but one of them, the math one, can be calculus or linear algebra. Great if you have both, but I just want to make sure that if you are missing a linear algebra or a calculus, that's okay. Just wanted to make sure that that is clear. The statistics course could also be a probability course, so we accept statistics or probability. And then just one other clarification just for language. Milad, you said 4 credits. So what we mean is it's got to be a formal university course where it has some amount of credits assigned to it. And I think we just want to make sure that it doesn't have to be 4 credits, 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be a 3-credit course, but it has to count towards be a formal university course. Yeah.
Thanks, Tiffany, for clarifying that.
No
Yes.
problem.
4 credit is FOR credit. Yes, Garrett.
And I just want to say that the prereqs are the same for the CL program as well. We don't have a linguistics prereq or a language prereq. It's the same prereqs for the CL program.
Yeah. Great. So one of the questions, or a question that we get a lot, is how do I know if the programming course or the statistics course I've taken meets your requirements? Yes, Kalad.
So on the course website, there is a website which actually lists the prerequisite courses. It also listed the sample equivalent UBC courses and so on. And each of those courses, it also lists the learning objectives and so on. For the courses taken from other institution, it doesn't need to match exactly learning objective. For instance, for the programming courses, we expect that students would learn, for instance, how to write if-else conditions or branching logic, and then implement loops and other different things. So at least the objectives are similar. It doesn't need to be matched with one-to-one, like very similar content and so on, but the learning objective should be matched. The website does a very good job in listing different sample courses as well, so they can, like applicant can check the website for the course as well.
Yeah, thank you, Kolad. Tiffany.
And to help us understand that the course you took does meet our criteria, it's really important that you share information about that course with us. So share the description, share the learning objectives. If there's a publicly available syllabus, if you can link to that for us, that's extremely helpful. And then it makes our job easy to say, yes, you passed the bar.
Yes, Garrett.
Yeah, and I'll just elaborate on what Claude said as well. We do most of the programming in the course in Python and R. But if your course is in another language, it's more about the concepts that you learn in that programming course than it is about the language itself. So if you've taken a course in Java or C, these are all going to be teaching similar concepts that will carry over to new languages.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just 2 points to add because I've seen all the questions. So the prerequisite do not have to be taken at UBC. The sample courses that are listed on the website are just sample courses. And so there is UBC courses that are similar. So if you've taken your course at your in your university, and it matches, it's similar to the sample course that is listed on the website or a similar course at UBC. That's completely fine. They don't have to be taken at UBC. You can take them at any accredited university, in your own country or in Canada. The other point I wanted to make is that, again, they have to be they have to show up on your transcript. So you have to have received some credit for those courses. But the MOOCs or the online courses, you can use those to refresh. So let's say you've taken the prerequisite courses a long time ago, and you want to show us on your application that you've kind of kept up with the latest technology and you've taken an online course. Definitely tell us that you've taken an online course to keep up, but your prerequisite has to be a credit course. Great. So the other technical question that we get is, what if I don't have one of the prerequisite courses? Is there any way I can make that up? Yes, Stephanie.
So I would say register for a course at a university that could fulfill the prerequisites. So it's maybe possible that you may have to wait a year. I don't know if depending on where you are in the world, if there's one available that you can be registered in and possibly update your grade for us as you're taking it. That might be a possibility, but we really do need those prerequisites covered, and it's really to ensure that you're able to be successful in the program. Without those, there's just too much uncertainty from our perspective as to whether you'll be successful. And it takes a lot of time, energy, and finances to come and do a master's degree, and we don't want people to come here and be unsuccessful.
Great. Similar question is, do I have to take the prerequisite course before I apply, or can I be registered in the course and then apply and get a conditional offer, for example? Yes, Kolad.
I can talk about the MDS Okanagan campus. We prefer that students, when they apply, they have all the prerequisite met. However, in the past, we sent conditional offers to applicants who are currently registered to one of those prerequisite courses. But again, it was conditional offer that they have to meet the minimum criteria for the courses.
Yeah. So it is possible to apply. If you're currently registered in one of those prerequisite courses, you will just get a conditional offer to make sure that you finish those courses and also get a good grade in those courses. A quick question about the key capabilities in data science program. Are courses completed in this key capability in data science program considered acceptable to apply for this program? Yes, Tiffany.
So those ones do not count towards a university credit. So they are not ones that we can accept for our formal prereqs. They are good preparation. They're good, like helpful preparation. But we can't use those ones because they're not assessed in the same way that a university course is. And they're also a lot shorter. So that's why we can't use those.
Great, thank you. Again, similar questions, but I wanted to ask it anyways. I'll just read it here. As someone from a completely different faculty or background, will having taken the prerequisites be enough, or should I be looking to take more courses in data science, statistics, or programming as electives in my undergrad? Yes, Garrett.
I can speak to this being from a different faculty than data science, computer science, or statistics. So yeah, the prerequisites are really the most important courses that we look at when we're assessing the application. From a CL perspective, we also look at what your story is telling us. So yes, taking more language related courses is going to be seen as a benefit. Taking NLP courses in CS is a benefit. But really, yes, those prerequisites are the most important thing when you're applying.
Great, thank you. I got another interesting question here. I think it would apply to maybe a lot of people. So I took a calculus class and I got an F, and then I repeated it and got an A. Would you consider that? Yes, Tiffany.
Yeah, I think that, sometimes life happens. And sometimes we need to have exposure to something a couple times before we can master it. And I think that's okay. What's important is that you demonstrate the mastery of the material.
Great. Yes, thank you. Okay, I think that's all the questions I have about prerequisites and GPA. The next questions are about more specifically for the MDS Vancouver program. We have a video interview component, and the question is about what is involved with the MDS Vancouver recorded video interview. Any tips, and how does it work?
Yeah, so you'll be sent a link that you'll have a period of time in that link that will be active. And then when you click on that link, you'll be prompted with some questions, and your responses will be recorded on the computer and sent to us and saved, and we can review them with the rest of your application. These questions are not like super technical in nature. They're more to get to know you a little bit more than we can and understand you as an individual than we can get off of just a purely, electronic or paper application. And so my advice from watching these interviews as someone on the admissions panel in the past is to really be yourself, show up as your true, authentic self. And that is what we want to see. We don't want to see people trying to read some pre-planned answers or some answers where you're asking, maybe a large language model the question that we ask you, and then you reading back the large language model's answer. We really want to get to know you. And a lot of these questions are open-ended. There's not necessarily like a wrong question. It just really helps round out your application. So my biggest advice is that, you find a moment where you have some peace and relaxation, answer these questions, and be your true authentic self.
Yes, thank you. And just to be clear, UBC Okanagan MDS program and CL do not have this video interview, only MDS Vancouver. Okay, so we talked about this a little bit already, but what makes a good letter of intent or personal statement? What's your advice? Yes, Garrett.
I feel like I'm echoing Tiffany a lot, but yeah, I'll give the same advice she gave for the video. Really, just be genuine and tell us why you want to be in the program. What your plans are for using it in your career. But also why we should accept you. Why you're a good student to be in the program. Enthusiasm is great. We want students who want to be here and learning the material. So just tell us why you're a good applicant for the program. Don't try to game the system and try and guess with what we're trying to look for. And really, we just want to get to know you as an applicant to the program and what you'll bring to the program and what the program can also bring to you.
Thanks, Garrett. Kalat. Oh, Tiffany.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, if you had something to say, please go ahead, Kalat.
No, it's fine. Like you can.
All right. The one thing that I would like to add that I like to see in these personal statements is your plan. Like, it's really important, I think, to have. You might not know what you're going to be doing in 5 years, but it's good to have something that you're working towards, and it's good to tell us how does coming to MDS fit into that plan? What is it going to allow you to do that you couldn't do if you weren't going to come to MDS? How does it facilitate you getting to where you want to be? So I think it's really, really helpful and really strengthens your application if you have a career goal and you communicate to us, how does MDS help you get there?
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah, just to add a little bit more. So it's a wonderful space for the applicant to tell their story, right? So tell your story and try to tell the reviewer that how your goal is aligned with the MDS program and how actually it can help you down the line in your future career goal and so on. And also, like, specifically if there is any issues related to prerequisite or any other thing, this is an excellent space to explain those different things.
Great. And again, we don't want a laundry list of all the different software programs and languages and what you've already done. We can get that from your resume, maybe. Okay. How about recommendation letters or reference letters? Can you talk about those? What are we looking for? And what if you don't have all three? Like, what if you're currently working somewhere and you're not comfortable telling your supervisor to submit a reference letter because you're not sure if you're going to get in? So those kind of issues. Tiffany.
For MDS Vancouver, where possible, I say, actually, I'm going to step back. The most important thing is that whoever writes your reference letters knows you very well, and can write about you. And they can there's lots of things they could comment on that would help us understand you better. So they could comment on your academic success. They could comment on any of your work experience or other types of professional experience. I've talked about like co-ops or internships or research projects, personal projects, volunteer work. Any of that is excellent for them to comment on. And ideally, they're also going to comment kind of on like your human character. Usually those are the things that we're looking for in a reference letter. In a perfect world, it's great to get a reference letter that is like one that's academic and one that's professional. And the third one can come from somewhere else or double up on one of those. But sometimes the world's not perfect. So what do you do when the world's not perfect? You do the best you can. So I'd still would really strongly recommend 3 letters, because then we get 3 different people's perspective of you, and that helps really round out our view of you again, as an individual, and in how well you might do in the program and if you will be successful, because we're really trying to get people in the program who it's very clear that they will be successful. I would, if you can't get your current boss because you just got the job and you don't want them to know that you're thinking about leaving, think about professors. Think about if you've done some volunteer work for an organization, maybe someone from that organization could be a reference. Maybe there is, trying to think of, past work. And even if it's not related to data science, for example, it doesn't have to be. Maybe it was a job, an organization you worked for as a high school student, but they got to know you and they got to see how you work. Any of those things would be okay.
Thanks, Tiffany. Garrett.
And I'll just add that it should be a professional relationship. So either a professor or a teacher or a supervisor at a job. Don't submit references from your friends. We know they can give great character references for you, but those aren't really the types of references we're looking for in an application to a program. Similarly, a TA probably doesn't quite have the right amount of supervision and just knowledge of your working skills to help with an application of this sort. So yeah, someone who knows you well, but also someone who has been able to see what your work is like when you're working on a particular project.
Thanks, Garrett. Kalad.
Yeah, I agree with what Tiffany and Garrett said. Just as a note for MDS Okanagan campus, we only need 2 reference letter from this year.
Right. Thanks, Kalad. Great, thank you for that. I have a specific CL, computational linguistics related question. So somebody says here, I'm interested in MDS CL. I don't have any specific experience in linguistics. However, I'm involved in works regarding NLP and LLMs. So what are you looking for, Garrett, for the CL program applications that is a little bit different from MDS?
Yeah, that's a great question. And linguistics is sometimes it's a bit of a niche area, even in academia. So we're not expecting everybody to have gone through and done an undergrad in linguistics. And although those students are great, we do like linguistic students to apply. But yeah, experience in NLP projects is great. Working with LLMs, or even just doing some self investigation of LLMs and trying to solve problems with them. If you have a GitHub repo with projects that you've kind of played around with a little bit, and we just want to show that you have an interest in language in general, not a specific language like French or German or Chinese. The bilingualism or knowing multiple languages is not the only aspect of linguistics. So really, we do want to have just an enthusiasm for working with languages, however you can show that in your application.
Great. Thanks, Garrett. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, we get a lot of international student applications. So some questions from international students are, is there a fixed quota for international and domestic students?
No, we do not have any specific quota at MDS Okanagan campus for international local students.
And neither does CL or MDS Vancouver. So we can move through that. There's questions about post-grad work permits, which we probably don't want to discuss here because there's been a lot of changes recently about that, and there's still some changes coming through. The advice we have is that, or I guess we can say that, yes, you can apply for a post-grad work permit after you finish the MDS program. In the past, students have gotten post-grad work permits that are multiple years. So that is something that you can probably expect as well, that you can get a post-grad work permit that is more than 1 year. And the other advice I would give you is to reach out to our International Student Development Office. There is certified consultants, immigration and visa consultants at those offices that can tell you exactly what to do and what to expect in terms of post-grad work permits. And you don't, about study permits as well. So you don't, one of the questions is here, do I have to have a study permit before I apply for the program? And that's not true. You have to apply for the program, get an offer, and then with your offer, you can apply for a study permit. Again, another question we can probably get through really quickly is, when reviewing applications, do you view international and domestic students differently? No, everybody's going no. So that's a quick answer as well. So we just look at the application, at the quality of the application. It doesn't matter if they're domestic or international. About TOEFL scores and IELTS scores, they have to be taken within the last, I think, 2 years. right? Am I correct? I think so. So it has to be a pretty recent TOEFL IELTS score. All right, let's talk about funding opportunities, financial assistance and scholarships. What scholarships are available? Yes, Garrett.
So in CL, and this touches a little bit on the question about international versus domestic students. So in the CL program, we do have a separate pool for scholarships for international and domestic students that we will consider all applications. But if you want to be considered, especially it is worth mentioning in your application if you have financial need or if you want to be considered on those fronts. But yeah, we have one fund for domestic students and one for international students.
Thanks, Garrett. I think Milad was next.
Yeah, I think like there's a like on the MDS website there is a list of scholarships. I think it varies from program to program. In our campus, we have like merit-based scholarships, where typically we have an allocated budget for each year, and we like provide scholarships to the students. I believe Vanessa shared the link on the chat window, and on top of this one, there are like bursaries available for students.
Yes. Thank you. Tiffany, you have anything to add, or?
I think actually the list that Vanessa shared is the best thing to take a look at. We have a variety of scholarships for the MDS Vancouver program, and it's better to look at that list than to listen to me describe them all.
Yeah. And the bursaries that Milad mentioned, they are for domestic students. So that's the difference between scholarships and bursaries. Great. So yeah, check out that link. How do you apply for a scholarship? Yes, Milad.
For our campus, they don't need to apply it separately. Once we review the application, we commonly also consider applicants for the scholarship as well. So there is no separate application process for scholarship.
Correct. And I think the other programs are the same. So you submit an application. If your application is excellent, you will automatically get a scholarship. So on your offer letter, it will mention that you have been offered a scholarship as well. Bursaries are different. So bursaries you have to apply for separately. So there's details on the website, but you need to be a domestic student and you have to have government student loans. And then if you have an unmet need, you can apply for a bursary and get your unmet need met. Yes, Tiffany.
Yeah, so I agree. Most of our scholarships, we just consider you automatically, although there is one that you apply for ahead of time. That's the UBC MasterCard Foundation Scholars Program. And so that one is comprehensive scholarships for students from sub-Saharan Africa. So if you are one of those students, you can apply to this. I think the application for that has closed already for next year. So you'd be looking at the following year.
That's right. Thank you, Tiffany. All right. So let's talk a little bit about after the program. We have about 8-9 minutes left. How is the job outlook these days for grads of the different tracks? Any tips? Yes, Garrett.
Yeah, so we just had grad last week, and I was talking to a bunch of our graduates, and it seems like it's picking up. The things seem to be looking quite good, at least for the time being. But even in the past, when we've had a slower job market, our graduates do typically get jobs fairly soon after graduation. Vanessa, I think we do have some statistics from a few years ago somewhere on the website. But yeah, it's I'll say that the job prospects are pretty good for CL.
Tiffany.
Yeah. So I think I would echo what Garrett said, and to build upon that, I think one thing that's really a fantastic feature of joining one of the MDS programs is the career counseling that we provide, as well as the alumni network. So as part of the program, because it's a professional program, not only do you get academic courses, we have dedicated career staff to help you. So there's lots of workshops that you can take throughout the year when you're here as a student to prepare your resume, to learn how to write a better cover letter, to learn how to, craft a beautiful LinkedIn and engaging LinkedIn page. In addition to that, we provide like one-on-one sessions with the career staff, so they can give you personalized feedback on your job career search. And I've, talking with students, they found this very beneficial and extremely helpful for them for finding employment. The other thing that I mentioned, I'll come back to, is our alumni network. So we have a couple ways that you can interact with alumni once you become an MDS student. So we have some social events that are joint between alumni and students. So those are in-person events, so you can meet them there. We also have an alumni Slack workspace where we connect all past students from all the programs with all the present students. And so you can get to know them in the digital space as well. And then possibly one of, I think, our nicest features is the mentorship program that we have. So we have past alumni who volunteer to act as mentors to current students. And so they will meet one-on-one or in small groups, at least, with current students and provide, helpful tips for searching for jobs. But in addition to that, maybe also connections into the industry or into companies that they're currently working for. So there's a lot of support through this professional program for finding a job.
Thanks, Tiffany. And all three programs have career advisors, a career advisor that helps them with what Tiffany just mentioned. The other thing I would mention is that UBC is a large university, and we have a central career services as well that works on getting employers on campus, creating, organizing career fairs and information sessions and all kinds of different things. So there is, outside of the MDS program, there's a lot of opportunities for you to connect with employers, industry partners, take workshops, go to events and those kind of things. So lots of, probably more than you have time for. Okay. So the next question is about co-op or capstone. So we don't have a co-op option for MDS, but we have capstone. So maybe somebody can talk a little bit about how capstone works and what it does for the students. Yes, Claude.
So for Capstone, like from MDS Okanagan campus, we commonly receive Capstone application from different industry partners, and then we present all the Capstone projects to the students, and they have the chance to select based on their prior work experience, based on their background and their interest and so on. So we go through the matching process, and then they can start working with the industry partner once they are matched with the corresponding or the suitable industry partners and so on. So typically for MDS Okanagan campus, they started initial meeting end of the April and so on, and then they work with the industry partner for May and mid of June, and then they have the presentation, a final presentation at the end of the June and so on. And in many cases, we saw that the students who are working with the Capstone project, they actually ended up with going in the same, they joined there as an employee later once they finished the Capstone project. So Capstone is a wonderful opportunity, at least from MDS Okanagan side, for the students to get exposure to the real world data sets, to the networking, and also potentially different job opportunities down the line.
Thanks, Claude. Yes, Garrett.
And I'll just add that when job hunting, a big part of interviews is talking about past projects you've worked on, and the Capstone is often a highlight that you can use to convince potential employers that you know what you're talking about more than just oh, I passed a certain class here. That I actually solved this problem in a 2-month project, and it's regularly something that is highlighted on CVs and then in the interview process.
Thanks, Garrett. Yes, Tiffany.
And then one thing I'll add, so when we assign you to your capstone projects, like you're going to, with MDS Vancouver, you're working in a small team of usually 3 or 4 students. You also get assigned a faculty mentor. And so that faculty mentor is going to work very closely with you. So you get to know them very well. They can be a useful networking person or reference after the program. And they provide a lot of not only technical support, but also project management and mentorship support for you during the project. So you get, to work with the capstone partner, which in MDS Vancouver sometimes is industry, sometimes it's not for profit or government, and sometimes is an academic project from the university at a different research lab. But then you also get this MDS faculty mentor who you get to work very closely with. And I think I see that being a very valuable relationship and a very valuable, how would I say, learning experience, person to learn from during capstone.
Great, thank you. All right, we have a few minutes left. I wanted to give you an opportunity to kind of give your final tips or thoughts or anything that you wanted to share with potential applicants to the program. Yes, Tiffany.
I have to jump off in a minute or two, so I'm going to try and go first. So what I would like to say is that I think that one of the strengths of the MDS programs in general, and in particular MDS Vancouver, is our emphasis on reproducible and trustworthy and responsible data science. And so if you care about the quality and the trustworthiness of data analysis and impacting human lives and the environment, I think we're a great program for you to learn how to do that. And we hope you will consider applying to us.
Thanks, Tiffany. I'll just add to that the other strength, one of the strengths that we have for I think all 3 programs is the diversity in our program. So we have students from all kinds of different backgrounds, countries, technical people, not non-technical people, and they're all contributing to the classroom. You're in the same classes throughout the 10 months. Together with the same students, so you get to know your classmates really well, which builds a very strong sense of community, and also which builds a very strong connection to our alumni community, because you keep in touch with each other after you graduate, and a lot of graduates give back to the program. So I think those are some of the strengths of our program, and I echo what Tiffany says. We hope that you submit your application because of these strengths. Milad and Garrett. Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah, I think I echo with what you and Tiffany said. And also in terms of the application, I think it is important to make sure that all the pieces, starting from your resume to the statement of personal statement or statement of interest, then all those different pieces are important to us. So tell us the story, and tell us why you are interested in pursuing this career and so on. That would help us to review your applications and take the decision easily.
Thank you, Milad. Garrett, last but not least.
Yeah, I guess I'll just add that data science and computational fields often get a reputation as being very, very difficult and maybe very intimidating. But we have a great teaching team here that does help students from a very diverse set of backgrounds through the program, as we've been highlighting. So if you're unsure if this is the program for you, hopefully we've answered some of those questions, and hopefully we've encouraged you that you don't have to already be an expert before coming into the program. If you're an expert already, then you're not going to be learning anything in the program anyway. So we do want people who are really enthusiastic about data science, and from my perspective about linguistics and computational linguistics as well, to apply to the program, and we'll help you every step of the way through the program. I'm looking forward to seeing applications.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. Thank you to the panelists for answering the questions. Thank you very much for being part of this, and looking forward to reading your applications. Bye, everyone.